Chapter 5. The Heart of a Bloodwarden. Beleric passed by the hollow root very quickly to put away the money Grandma gave to him. Nu was waiting for him to kiss her forehead before flying around. He was in a hurry, so he let her enjoy freedom while he was cleaning her space and making himself more presentable to Yavara. "Come home, Nue, I need to go now," he shouted to her. Nue was stubborn and he had to call her 2 more times before she came, landing at his right wrist. "Listen, I am going to the town to get a job. I am turning 14 this week, and now I can work, so I will be capable of buying our food and maybe give ourselves a real house." Then he heard inside his mind that sweet, girly voice saying, "Here, home." "I know, Nue, here is home, but we can have a better home soon. I promise I will be back by the end of the day, and I will bring you a gift," Beleric exclaimed. He didn't have anything special in mind, but there were always fresh sunflower seeds in the market, which was something she would love. He went back inside the root and put her in her comfortable, improvised perch and got some money for himself and coins to buy her the seeds. Nu was singing as if she knew something nice was coming for her from Beleric, and the aquamarine in her neck was shining in the sun. Her singing was beautiful and happy, as a baby laughing at sounds that make people smile. Beleric was so excited about the news that he couldn't wait until he could tell everything to her. And Grandma, when she was back from the elder tree, he wanted to tell his mother too so she could be happy for him, but he was aware that if he did, Thoranya was going to take everything from him, his money and all he had, to herself. He checked if everything was in his bag, the money, the letter from Grandma, and kissing Nue goodbye, he moved to the road. Beleric had to go around his mother's house without her seeing him, so he was precautious. But gladly, she was distracted by some man he could hear inside the house, and Beleric passed without any issues, feeling lucky. He reached the road after 10 minutes walking. It was still only dirt in that part, as the cities were still covering it with stones and tar to improve the conditions when it rains. There were always horses and wood carts slipping there and causing damage, and people getting hurt. But those last days were too cold and too dry, and Beleric regretted not having a scarf to cover his face and protect him from the wind and the dust. The walk wasn't that long. The sun would be a quarter of the horizon in west, and if he was fast enough, he could be back home when it was not that dark yet. He was whistling the melody, Nue was singing, and very few people passed by. The side of the road was pretty, with the flowers blooming as a sign of the beginning of spring. When he was almost there, a lady in a wood cart with 2 infants stooped for him and shouted, "Hey kid, do you need a ride?" "Thanks, madam, I am going to the market." "Jump in, I can take you there." Beleric thought he was lucky indeed and would arrive earlier in the market. He reserved some coins to offer to the children when they arrived, which was a form of blessing by his people. According to Grandma, he wanted to retribute her kindness, and something inside him was warming his heart. It was hope. But he also felt like everything would change. His intuition was strong. Beleric jumped from the woodcart when the lovely lady passed by the center square of Yarun's cross, and she didn't stop for him to give the coins to the kids. But they waved at him while leaving, so Beleric just gave them his best smile and yelled, "Thanks!" from where he was. Yavara was easy to find. Her stall was one of the largest and right in the center of the market. There were some young people working there, and a friendly girl at the front, shouting offers to attract customers. Sitting next to it, there was an old lady, very well dressed and serious, fanning herself. Beleric moved towards her, as she would be more likely to be friends with Grandma. "Excuse me, are you Ms. Ivara?" "And who is asking?" the woman asked. "My name is Beleric, and I was sent by—" "My grandmother sent me with this letter," he said, extending both hands and delivering the letter to her. Beleric remembered that he never learned the real name of Grandma, and blushed, feeling silly for a second. "Ah, are you Viridia's grandson?" "She never had children. How could that be?" Ivara asked. "Truth is, I call her Grandma because Miss Viridia took me in as her own. But I never met my father, and my mother have nothing to offer to me or to anyone," Beleric said, still embarrassed. "I see, thanks for your honesty. Viridia speaks very well of you in this letter, and she likes no one. What makes me think you must be adorable, or the best liar I know. but who needs adorable? I need useful. So, you see those boxes over there? She said, pointing to a pile of packages behind her tent. Open them and split the fabric according to the color, then tones, and put it back to the boxes sorted. Now? Belleric asked. Yes, now. He then moved fast behind the tent and started his work. Belleric kept in mind that he had to be smart in negotiating his salary, so he wanted to show he could be a really good worker for her to start offering a fair amount. The boxes had more scarves than fabric itself, so he had more pieces to sort than he thought. It took a few hours for him to finish, and when it was done, Ivara called him 20. For what I could see from where I am sitting, you did a good job. I will have it checked later. Now, drink some water and go back there to help the others to dismantle the tent to store until tomorrow morning, when we set it up again. Belleric continued working while the sunset came, and they finished almost at night. He was concerned about how he was going back home in the dark road, and he regretted not coming earlier. Kid, come here, Ivara shouted at him. I see by Viridia's letter that you need a place to stay. Also, she is going to answer for you instead of your mother until you turn 18. In those terms, I can offer you 5 copper coins per day, 1 to her and 4 to you, accommodations and food. Is that enough for you? Belleric thought for a second and said, Can I have a bird? A bird? Ivara asked, confused. Yes, my bird Nue. I can't leave her behind. Belleric answered. 4 coins per day, 1 to her and 3 to you. Accommodations, food, and your bird stays. Deal? Deal! Belleric shouted with a smile, making the other workers to laugh. Fine, then follow Quillar. He will show you the accommodations for the boys like you, and you can rest for the night. Tomorrow morning, after setting up the tent in the market, you are going back to Viridia with my letter specifying our deal and also an advance on her coins for the month you will work, so you don't have to go back there so soon. Bring back her answer. If she is not home, you leave everything on her table and I will wait for her to send me a messenger when she can. Be back by the end of the day to help dismantle the tent. Any questions? No, I got it all. Thanks for the opportunity, Miss Ivara. Belleric was worried about being out for a long time, what Thoranya was going to do with him when he was back. But he was so happy with the new life he was going to live from now on, that her punishments weren't scary at this time. Quillar was a 15-year-old boy, tall and skinny with messy hair. Belleric followed him a few blocks away to the upper rooms of a tavern, in a shared dorm with 2 beds and 2 small chests on opposite sides of the beds for them to keep their belongings, and a table in between. Here is my room, that it's going to be yours too. All the men that work for Ivara lives in here. The tavern belonged to her husband, but he passed away and they had no children, so she made a partnership with Elir that was her oldest employee and man of trust of her husband, and now he pays her 50% of the profit from the tavern and rules here. He is fine, doesn't speak much because he is always working, but he helps to keep everything clean, Quillar said. Belleric wasn't even hearing him. The only thing he had in mind is that now he was going to have a real bed to sleep in. I have a bird, Nue! Ivara allowed me to bring her here. Is that okay? Belleric asked. What type of bird? I don't mind having a bird around, as long as if it doesn't make a lot of noise or crap everywhere, Quillar told him, jumping over his bed. She is a blue goldenbill, I think. She only sings when I am studying, and she goes outside to do her things so her space is always clean, Belleric answered excitedly. You let the bird free? Cool. Those birds sing pretty, I like it. I have a flute, maybe your bird would like to sing along. You can keep the bed close to the window. I don't like the smell that comes from outside, so I sleep in this one next to the door. And your bird will be happier, Quillar said. The boys chatted until late and talked about the stuff they liked to do. Quillar didn't like to study like him, but he knew how to read and offered himself to help Belleric to learn. They played the flute and laughed about simple stuff, making Belleric feel great. He could make friends there. When their tiredness took over, they went to bed, and Belleric dreamed about the happy life he never had before. But it was about to start. Next morning, he woke up early with Quillar calling him to eat before work. They grabbed bread and a slice of cheese and an apple with Elir's wife and went out to watch the sunrise. Nah, We have to go soon to the market, so eat quickly. Are you picking up your stuff today? Yes, I am moving during the day, and by night I will be back with new. I hope Grandma is still there so I can thank her, Beleric said with his mouth full of crumbs. Send hi to your grandma for me. We have to hurry. The tent must be open with the market. If you still want to buy seeds for your bird, you can get them when you are back. They will be cheaper, he said, pulling Beleric by the arm. They ran down to the market and everyone was setting the tents. Yvara came to the market a few minutes after them and called Beleric immediately. Here is the letter and the money I told you about. Once the market is open, you go back to Viridia and give it to her. Quillar, come here, she shouted. Grab the red silk scarf that came from Lyrian yesterday and bag for Beleric to take with him. It's a gift to Viridia, and you tell her to use it wisely. I will, thanks. I am sure she will be incredibly happy about your gift, Beleric answered. Yvara laughed and said, I highly doubt that. But let's see, now you can go. Quillar returned with the package, and very carefully he gave it to Beleric, to put in his bag with the envelope containing the letter and the money. Be careful, this fabric is from the islands. Usually they are enchanted and you never know what they can do to you, Quillar whispered to Beleric. Got it. Let's set everything fast so I can go home and pick up Niue. The morning was passing fast and Beleric tried to get a ride on the road close to the city, but no one stopped for him. He didn't bother much and walked back whistling Niue's song for almost the whole path. When he was close to his mother's house, Beleric tried to pass silently and unnoticed, but his mother was waiting for him at the front door. Beleric, I have been waiting for you. Theorania was smiling. Hi, Mother. Sorry I was out for so long, Beleric answered confused. He was trying to understand her lack of reaction. He was expecting that she was going to cause a scandal, and that unusual calm was making him feel uncomfortable and giving him goosebumps. I cooked lunch. Today we will have some meat, she said. Beleric imagined that was the reason she wasn't aggressive and breathed a sigh of relief. Just to be sure she was going to behave, Beleric grabbed some coins from his bag and offered her, saying, Here, Mother, keep it. I was out doing a favor for the neighbor, but he paid me well, and you can have it. I just need to talk to him before I am back. Don't worry, Beleric. There will still be meat in the soup for you later, maybe. And Thoranya walked back inside, still smiling and putting away the coins in her pocket. Beleric was feeling weird. There was something different in his mother today, and it was always unpleasant when he couldn't predict her moves. Then he had a thought. Maybe she believed he abandoned her, and to not lose him or the money he brings home, she was behaving better. No, she wouldn't care. If she decided to be better, it was too late anyway, he said to himself while walking to the woods. He decided to go first to see Grandma Viridia and give her the money before his mother found out about it, and if possible, have lunch with her to not eat with his mother at all. He remembered again the seeds he didn't buy to Niue, so he decided to grab some berries in the woods, or if Grandma had some, to ask her for a little bit. Grandma's cabin was darkest than normal. Bad sign. He went inside and found a note from her. He could read little, but she made it simple. Me, gone, elder tree, next moon, eat. With the note, there was a basket full of some bread, nuts, dry fruits, and more food that she probably left for him to guarantee he wasn't going to starve while she was out. Beleric felt thankful for her. Grandma Viridia. Now he knew her name. If it wasn't for her, Beleric would be no one, maybe starved to death, and because of her kindness in talking to Yvara, he was going to live a better new life from now on. Resting for a while, Beleric ate until he was satisfied and kept everything else in the basket to take it to Niue. It would be a lot better gift than just the simple seeds he planned before. He was going to take with him everything else that matters, go away, and never look back. Beleric left everything he had for Grandma Viridia, the letter and her money, in the same spot the basket was. He covered with the scarf Yvara sent to her and hoped that no one would go into her cabin before she was back. The last stop was to grab Niue and everything he had in the hollow route and leave. He decided to go the longest way by the forest path to Farah's Vale if he had time enough and avoid getting close to his mother. He wasn't going to say goodbye, there was no reason to do it. She never cared after all. He ran to the hollow root to try to buy himself some time and to tell the news to Nue. The basket was wrapped in a cloth so it was easier to carry, but he noticed when he was approaching it that everything was too silent. The forest was completely mute and colder than he was accustomed to. Belleric got into the root and noticed it was empty. Nue wasn't there. His blankets were gone as well as his money and everything he had sellable. The books were still there, thrown to the ground and trampled on like garbage. He suddenly remembered his mother, happy about having meat. She used his money to buy it. His eyes filled with tears, and he regretted not taking everything with him before. But how could he know? Belleric believed his mother wasn't aware of his hiding place. She never went there before. Maybe she was waiting for the perfect opportunity, and my absence last night provided. Belleric went out and started calling for Nue. He could hear the birds she used to play with, chirping high up in the trees and flying around agitated. But he couldn't identify if one of them was Nue. He kept calling her, but yelling was making the birds even more agitated. She probably came in the morning and yelled enough to scare them off. He would have to come back for Nue later. Belleric was burning with rage, but he was now going to be free, and there was nothing his mother could do about it. She could have the stupid money and his things, but his life was about to change for the best, and he promised himself, "She will never, ever see me again." Belleric wanted to cry, but he didn't. The tears were blurring in his sight, and the anger was consuming him. He had to do something about it. So he took a deep breath and shouted, "I will be back for you, Nue! Later today, I am coming for you!" He left the basket with his books and opened the cloth to attract Nue and the other birds to the food, so when he was back, she would be ready to go. While he was walking back to his house, the anger was slowly being replaced by anguish. Belleric's chest was aching, and he was struggling to breathe. Facing his mother was something he never thought he could do. That horrible feeling was growing stronger as close as he got from her house. Belleric walked in, and she was sitting at the table with 2 plates in front of her, the empty packaging of the cheese that the neighbor produces and a family-size bread. In half. She feasted that day, for sure. "Hi, Belleric. You took too long, so I ate all the meat. But there is still a little bit of soup in there," she said, pointing at the cauldron on the fire. "I don't need it. I have already eaten." Belleric answered, "Oh, you don't need it, right? Of course you don't. You have this abundant life behind my back, don't you? You little demon. You can have everything you want with all your treasures, and you can't share with your poor mother, can you?" Tharanya's voice was rising, and she was spilling the words with anger and a sarcastic smile that made Belleric to feel nausea. "And what exactly have you done for me, mother? Besides making my life miserable," Belleric said with a choked voice. That made Tharanya laugh and yell at him. "What have I done? I gave birth to you and raised you, you ungrateful bastard. You are just like your father. Calvarus is his name, did you know that? No, you always wanted to know who was that miserable that gave your life. He made me work for him and took everything from me, a wretched security guard for the women on the docks. He never gave me anything. In fact, he did give me a bastard son. Do you know what he did to me besides giving me a lying, damned son? He did this to me." And she raised the stump of her severed hand, pointing it in Belleric's direction. Belleric paralyzed. He felt his legs shaking and the blood abandoning his head. He felt dizzy and couldn't speak. He only pointed, silently, to Nue's bracelet hanging in his mother's deformed wrist. The comprehension hit him like a kick in the gut. Belleric staggered over to the cauldron on the fire and could see, next to the remains of a thin soup at the bottom of the pot, the skeleton of a bird with almost no meat left. "Mother, how could you?" Belleric asked, disturbed. "What's up? Do you care about the bird? I bet you care more about it than to your mother. And I got my bracelet back and some soft feathers for my pillow," she said, swinging her wrist as she walked back to the chair and sitting with her feet up. Tharanya's belly was round and swollen and pointing upwards. "Now go away and do your shit, damn it, and don't bother me anymore. I need to rest to digest well." The anger Belleric felt was back, and the anguish mixed with his pain. He felt the blood start to flow back to his head, giving him an intense headache, and he started sweating because of the heat. Beleric didn't know where it was coming from, but it was getting hotter in there, and suddenly his sight became all red. Beleric yelled, the loudest Thironia ever heard, as if he was exploding all his hatred and pain out at once. He then heard his mother scream. While Beleric walked through the fire towards the front door, he had one last view of his mother. Her skin was melting and flesh burning, and her good eye was wide open, as her mouth that was slowly silencing in an expression of pain and agony. Beleric kept walking, enjoying the warmth that involved and comforted him, and went out to the bright afternoon awakening with the contrast of the cold breeze on his skin.